Benefits. Now, the current challenge for us, and I mentioned this at the beginning, is the cost and the escalation of cost. I don't know an organization that isn't dealing with this year by year by year. It is an area where it is very, very difficult to control the expense. Plan members currently in the Diocese of Huron pay approximately 20% of the costs of the benefits, and the diocese pays for about 73% of those costs. The diocesan share is part of the diocesan budget, for which most of the revenue comes in the form of apportionment paid for by the parishes. Just to give you an idea of those costs, these are the premiums for the health and dental at present. What a single member pays, what family, what the member pays by month and by year, and what the diocese pays. So it's, for a family, it's, the diocese pays $227.75 a month currently for those two categories of benefits. It adds up to quite a lot over the total clerics. These benefits are provided by Great West Life, and we've been with them for a few years, and we periodically, fairly often, go out to the market. We work with the broker and go out to the market and see if we can do better. We haven't been able to do better for the last couple of rounds that we've tried that. Clergy also pay the full premium for the mandatory life insurance. This just gives a bit of a visual on the cost of premiums as a portion of diocesan budget. Benefit costs are 16% of the diocesan budget. And since benefit costs almost always increase more than the consumer price index, more than the cost of living, sometimes considerably more, it's becoming a bigger and bigger percentage of the budget. The options reviewed. We consider different methods of controlling the cost of benefits, and that's year by year. And clergy, you all know that there have been quite a number of changes year by year over the past several years to try to contain some of the most serious costs. Some of the ways we can control the cost, or try to control the cost, is increasing the percentage paid by the members. When I say control the cost of the diocese, the cost that comes out of that diocesan budget. Another way is to decrease benefits for all members. Another way that has been talked about is decreasing benefits for retirees and surviving spouses. We haven't done that. We're not recommending it at this point, but it's one of the things that we've had to consider fairly regularly. And we have had both increases in percentages paid by members and decreases in benefits for members over the last few years. Now, in deciding what to recommend, we went back to the survey that was done in 2016, fall of 2016, 2 years ago now. Stipendiary clergy were asked to complete a survey to assist the HR committee in understanding the priorities of plan members. Overwhelmingly, those who responded listed prescription drug coverage as their number one priority. That's also the one that rises most quickly and most dramatically. It was also clear that overall the respondents preferred an increase in premium cost to a decrease in coverage. No surprise there. the only recommendation we have at this point and for this year is to increase the current share of premium from 15% to 20%. Now that was increased last year, well increased for the current year from 10% to 15%. So that's a fairly significant increase in the clergy share in that time. 20% is pretty typical for organizations in terms of member share premium. But we've managed for a long time to keep it below, and we had to consider going to that extent. Now, continuing education, I mentioned that as part of the total compensation. And it's a part of it that it's paid for by the parishes, but it's administered by the General Synod Pension Fund. Recommendations regarding the amount of this benefit and what is claimable under this benefit are made by the Continuing Education Subcommittee of the Pension Board, that's of the General Synod Pension Plan. And the Pension Board, if it agrees, then forwards it to Council of General Synod, and they're the ones who decide. The Diocese of Huron has no control over what that amount is, and the decision this last time around was to increase the benefits significantly over the next 3 years. So the amount has been $450 a year for over 20 years. And so COGS approved an increase to $900 to be phased in. So it'll go to $600 in 2019. That's a $150 increase, and a further $150 each year until it's at the $900 in 2022. So that's going to be a significant cost for some parishes. Huron Pension Plan. Licensed clergy of the Diocese of Huron have a pension plan that is administered through General Synod, and that's the base pension plan. The Huron Pension Plan is a supplemental plan administered by Diocese of Huron. The funds for the plan are derived from apportionment under Canon 33, and the funds are invested as part of the diocesan investment portfolio. Every 3 years, an actuarial assessment is performed to determine if the funds are sufficient to meet our pension obligations. And our last actuarial assessment was really interesting. It found that because of the really strong investment performance, the diocese was able to make a greatly decreased contribution to the plan in 2017 and 2018. In fact, not just was able, was required to under pension rules. What we decided, though, was that with this very large increase in the funds, if adjustments had to be made, the members of the plan should also share in the wealth that was generated. And so we put forward a 10% increase in pensions paid under this plan. That could be done with no effect on apportionment. And then we found out that we couldn't do that all at once, again, under these rules, where we're balancing between tax and pension rules. We would have to phase that in, and how much we can increase in any 1 year is going to require looking at where the fund is and what the requirements are at that time. So it's very difficult. We can't just sit down and say we're going to give this percent increase every year until we get to the 10%. So our financial wizard, Paul, has some work to do there with the actuaries during this period. But we were able to have a pension holiday, had to have a pension holiday, and there'll be a lower pension contribution in the coming year. Okay. Now, another Interesting benefit. I think it's unique to churches. Maybe there's other organizations that have it. Not too many dioceses have it, although there are one or two. Originally, it was designed to help clerics purchase a house on retirement. Nowadays, it's paid on request at retirement. Nowadays, it's more likely, well, maybe not more likely, but almost as likely that the real value of it to a cleric is to undertake costs involved in them leaving one parish and one community and moving to another place. Costs over and above the moving allowance that they get. The retirement gratuity is paid on months in active service as a licensed stipendiary cleric. Question of what happens with part-time, and that's one thing I want to clarify. The canon, I don't believe, says anything on this, so if we're going to prorate, we'd have to take a look at the canonical change. But I haven't taken time to read through the canon and just clarify that. Currently, the formula is $129 for each month of service. So for someone with long service, it can be quite a healthy benefit on retirement. Now, we do an examination, a financial examination every 3 years to see if contributions are sufficient to cover the liabilities under this benefit, or if the benefit can be increased or should be increased, or if we have to make other adjustments. The last year we did this kind of an examination was for a year in 2017. And at that time it was recommended that it stay at $129 for the next 3 years. So there won't be any change in that in the near term. I'd like to talk a little bit now about the process that we're going through, and I talked about this a little bit at the beginning. As stated earlier, the purpose today was to review the various components of the clergy compensation package and to share our recommendations as a HR committee on changes to that package. After we finish these town hall meetings, and the last one will be this Saturday, the committee will meet on October 15th. And we'd really like to have everyone's feedback by that time. So far I have received almost none from the first 2 town halls, and we really want to have that feedback. People have many thoughts on this, many ideas, and many concerns, and we want to make sure that we consider all of those. When we get that, we will finalize our recommendations. Now, if all goes the way we'd like it to go, we will finalize those recommendations at or very shortly after, possibly another meeting, the committee meeting on the 15th. And then those recommendations would go to diocesan council on October 20th. Now, we're aware that for parishes, these recommendations don't immediately reduce any costs, and in some cases will increase them. And for parishes who are very concerned about their financial situation, there is no short-term relief in what we're proposing. Our strategy is a long-term one and is designed to alleviate future costs or the escalation of future costs so that they don't continue to go up on an automatic basis to the extent, to the length of time that they do now. The recommendations will be considered by diocesan council. They may feel prepared to make decisions at that point, and if they do, then January 1 implementation days can be met. They may send us back to do more work. They may decide that it's too much information right at this point, and they need to discuss it further. that will be up to diocesan council. But if diocesan council does accept the recommendations, then details will be sent out to all the parishes and to all of the stipendiary clergy regarding the phased-in implementation that will start in January 2019. Now, if you have comments, questions, or whatever that haven't been answered or don't get answered before we leave tonight, please email them to me at that address. And I do have packages for you to take home with all this information in, and email addresses in there, so you don't have to scramble to write it down. I've tried to make some note of your concerns tonight. Questions that we don't have complete answers for, and we'll make sure that those are answered. And as I say, it's very helpful if you email your question to me, because then we have it, and we have your email address, and it's very much easier to get answers back to you.